My next guest is going to be back in action February 6th at UFC Fight Night, taking on Macy Chiasson. It is Marion Reneau back here on the program. Marion, how's it going?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I love being on your show.
That's good. I got to send that to my boss. That's a good endorsement. I'll take it. I wanted to start first with Outside the Cage. Obviously, you're a teacher, and we still got this COVID stuff going on. How's all that going with, I'm sure the virtual learning and everything else? How are you managing all that?
Honestly, the best that we could. It's like I've been a teacher for 17 years, and I had my curriculum set year by year. I'm ready every year by the end of the year for the next year. And then this hits, and I'm like, okay, now I got to come up with a new curriculum. I have to learn how to distance learn. I was learning at the same time my students were learning. And it was a whole big overwhelming for a bunch of teachers, not only myself. My students this year, we just started this week back from vacation, and they seem pretty positive. I've gotten 100% attendance so far, so kudos to them. And I think that they're more prepared now than they were in August, because they didn't know what to expect. They thought we would be back by already. I thought we would be back already, but we're not. So we're adjusting as well as we can. I'm not going to lie. It is not my preferred way of teaching. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other teachers who would agree with me. I do like the interaction. I like building rapport with my students, but I'll take what I can.
Good stuff. Well, I'm glad you've managed through it, right? I know it's a difficult time. There's a lot going on, especially in California. I know there's a lot of issues there. We could do a whole podcast on that, I'm sure. But we're here to talk about your fight. I know you were supposed to take on Caitlin Vieira back at UFC 253 in August. For those who don't know, what happened there? Was it an injury? I was trying to remember what took place that took you out of that fight.
Yeah, it was a hand injury. It was a freak accident, a small little fracture in my hand. It was just something that I could not. I wanted to, but my camp was adamant that this probably would not be the best. Fighting, a top 10 opponent, and I need to go in with all arsenal available, especially my hand.
No, good call. Got to be smart about your career. What did you learn the most from that last fight with Rocky Pennington? Pretty solid opponent. I mean, you're fighting nothing but killers in that division these days.
Oh my goodness, these girls are amazing. I guess I learned a lot from that. I thought I knew how to get out of a clinch, but I've learned my lesson, and it's just something that, it exposed myself, and it's something that we've been working on 100%, especially going into this fight with Macy. She likes to clinch, and so it's not something that we are not aware of, and we've been working diligently. Fight before I even had another fight coming up, diligently.
Good. Yeah, well, I love this fight. I think it's great. Macy, a pretty notable name, obviously making her mark on the Ultimate Fighter. I know she doesn't have as much experience, but still, I mean, you're seeing the improvements every fight. How do you feel like you match up against her in this one?
I think it's a great matchup. I think, in all honesty, they can throw a name at me, and I'm like, okay, let's go. It doesn't matter the matchup. I don't look at like, okay, what is she better at? I'm like, let's run it. Let's go. I'm here to fight. I'm getting paid to fight, so let's run it. And I like the matchup. I really do.
Now, this is usually where I ask how the training camp is, but I got a bit of insight. I'm doing the podcast now with your coach, Jim West, so it's been cool to kind of get some insight on that. But it sounds like things are going well, and I know Aspen's doing a bit of training as well as she makes her comeback this year, right?
Yeah. Training camp is going really well, minus it being cold. Man, I don't do well in cold. I have to bundle up. I'm pretty sure it's an ongoing about my toes. I need like a heater just for toes. But the camp has been successful. It's been fun. Sure, it's had its ups and downs, but more ups than anything else. And it's pretty good.
Who are you mainly getting to work with over there in terms of the camp? Like, is there anyone you're working with a little bit more? Obviously, your husband, I know you work with quite a lot.
Right. Well, I'm not up north right now with MMA Gold. I had trained with him earlier last year. I trained with him, sometime in the middle of the year for my previous camp. I haven't been able to get up that way just yet, and I probably won't. But I've had a couple of people come down. I've had people here that I train with as well. A couple of people who are her height. Which is what we were looking for. We were looking for somebody her height, her length, so that way I can, adjust to timing and stuff.
Good stuff. And how's the weight cut going? I know when you've been off for a bit, it can be a little bit tougher, but I mean, you're a pro. You've been doing this forever. I'm sure the cut's going well.
It's fun. It's fun.
I think you might be one of the few fighters that says that, but that's awesome. I love the attitude.
It is what it is. And, sometimes you're just going to feel a little bit more hungrier, and that's fine. But in all honesty, I like to manage my weight and then get to a healthy cutting weight and then cut my weight. And so far, it's been successful for me. I know that in these last 2 fights that I've had to focus a little bit more on my management of eating, only because I find it a little bit more challenging to lose the weight as I get older. I have to work a little bit harder, but it's coming off.
Is it easier to cut this time around with working from home? Just because you're near the fridge, you can make your own meals, or do you find it harder? I know some people find it a little bit harder because you're next to the fridge and there could be some bad stuff in there, right? So.
No. We don't buy it. So it's only my husband and I in the house right now. My son's down south with his father going to college. So if it's bad food, we just don't buy it. There's nothing in the fridge. There's nothing in the pantry that is going to tempt me. It's all healthy food.
That's the key right there. Yeah, I always tell people that. It's the same thing with me. Like, I don't keep any junk food in the house. And that way, if I want to go eat something bad, I at least have to go walk to get it or whatever. It just makes it easier. Because I'm one of those people, if there's a bag of chips in there, I'm probably going to eat it, right? So you got to be careful with that.
Whole bag.
Yeah, I know. It can go pretty quickly. So I understand that. Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
This fight, I have Jim, I have my husband, and then I have Jake, who is a Muay Thai coach with MMA.
Fantastic. And how's the fight playing out on February 6th? Obviously feel like you're going to win, but how do you see it unfolding?
Oh, it's gonna be a battle. She is one tough opponent, but I expect that in the bantamweight division. All the ladies are here. They're trying to make noise in the division, and so it's going to be a tough battle. Obviously, I see myself being victorious. I have 2 more fights left with the UFC, and so my 2 fights, my goals this year is obviously to come out with victory. You talked about having 2 fights left on your contract. I know you're on a bit of a skid. Is there any more pressure going in, or you just kind of say, look, if I put on a good performance, it doesn't matter what happens. I'm going to, they're going to keep me around? No, I am going to put on a good performance. It's not if. I'm going to put on a good performance. Sorry, I should have clarified that. Yes, your fights are always good. I agree with that. But I mean, I don't try to put pressure on myself going into a fight regardless, no matter what happened in the past. I know a lot of fighters, they hone in on that. I just want to finish my contract off on 2 good notes. I want to give it my all. I'm not naive to think that, hey, I'm not getting up there in age. There's a new blend and brand of women coming up in every division, every possible organization that there is. I'm not naive to that. I've been blessed to be a part of this organization for the past 5.5, 6 years. And so I want to give them what the fans want to see, and I want to give them good performances, finish off my fight career. Before we go, I got to ask, this is, I think, the first time we've talked since your son has gone over to college. How are you handling that? Because I know that's a bit weird when, like you said, it's just you and your husband. And I know for parents, it's nerve-wracking. Like, I left home as well. I actually went out east. I'm from out west. And I know my mom was trying to call me all the time and stuff. So I can only imagine what you're going through right now. Oh, okay. I'm so happy you said that, because I am glad I'm not the only mom that wants to call my son all the time.
Of course,
yeah. Little Marco Polo. We have Marco Polo app. So I'm always sending him videos, and on his birthday, which was Monday, he turned 19. I sent him 19 videos because that was necessary. I call him all the time, and he's like, Mom, can we just do it like on Sunday? Like Sunday, I'll make time. It's your day, Sunday. And I'm like, okay, fine. But I'm still going to send videos. Right. Yeah. So it's been hard. I raised him by myself for a very long time until my husband came into the picture. And so, yeah, letting go of him was a very challenging, but he's a man and he needs to be a man, and I need to accept that. And he'll come home one of these days. I know he will. He will. He'll come back to me. You don't have to say the school, but whereabouts is he going to school? Like, is it pretty far away from California? Yeah, it's about 4 hours away down south. So it's an online, obviously. Right now he's redshirting as a basketball player, but he will be playing, hopefully, fingers crossed, next season if they come back.
How cool is that though? Like, you're a professional athlete. If your son's playing at a pretty high level, by the sounds of it, it's in university. Like, that must be kind of a proud moment for you as a mom, just seeing that he's sort of fallen in your footsteps in terms of the athletic career.
Absolutely. In terms of the athletic career, I applaud him. It is not easy. He has seen all of his life, most of his life, since he was 4 years old. I have been doing fights. I have been part of the fight game. I've been preparing for fights. And so that's all he's ever seen. That's all he's ever witnessed. And I obviously, every parent's hope is that they end up doing the same thing. They end up seeing that drive, that grind, and they end up applying it themselves. So I am pretty proud of my boy.
And I love this fight. It's coming up here February 6th, UFC Fight Night. Marion, thanks so much for the time. Always good catching up. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you got any sponsors or shout-outs, I'll give you the last word.
Big shout out to my team, Trifecta and MMA Gold. I do appreciate all my teammates and my training partners and coaches. And if you want to hit me up on social media, the best way to hit me up is on Twitter. I do respond a lot to anybody who tweets me. I think that's a pretty cool app to get a hold of me at, or Instagram under Marion Reneau or the Belizean Bruiser.